What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And folks, we just got a very interesting update on a former Kansas City Chiefs coach, offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, who served as the Chiefs OC from 2018 to 2022, winning multiple Super Bowls, was fired from the UCLA Bruins football program after just one season of serving as the offensive coordinator for the UCLA Bruins. Bieniemy was fired shortly after the conclusion of the 2024 college regular season, after UCLA had the 117th ranked offense in all of FBS and was one of the worst offenses in Power 4 college football. And for those that remember, Eric Bieniemy also was the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders for just one season until Washington decided to fire Ron Rivera as the head coach, and Eric Bieniemy was not retained by new head coach Dan Quinn. This means that Bieniemy has not lasted more than one season at either of his two stops outside of the Kansas City Chiefs since departing. While many are confused as to how a two-time Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator could fall off so hard to not be able to carve his own path or find a steady job elsewhere, many are also thinking that this could open up the door to Eric Bieniemy potentially returning to the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff in some capacity. My personal thoughts, I would not mind Eric Bieniemy rejoining this coaching staff in some capacity whatsoever. However, I'm not sure I would like him to become this team's offensive coordinator again, which if Matt Nagy is to get hired elsewhere for a head coaching job this offseason or leaves for any other reason, I really don't want Eric Bieniemy sliding into his place. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I think we've seen that Eric Bieniemy is not very good. Since he's been outside of Kansas City and since he's detached himself from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, we've seen that he's just not a very good offensive coach. He went to Washington where they had a very underwhelming offense and they decided not to retain him. And then he decided to join the college ranks and go to UCLA to try to save their football program. And they had one of the worst offenses in the nation this year. And this isn't a totally surprising result to me, as Eric Bieniemy interviewed for head coaching jobs for several cycles and was never hired by anyone, and people speculated on what the reason was for that, but I think we've seen the reason. Furthermore, the Chiefs' offense sputtered at times, even with Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, and while everyone wants to point out that the Chiefs' offense has gotten worse since he's left, I would also argue the overall talent on offense has also gotten worse since he's left, and that has been a bigger contributing factor than anything about Eric Bieniemy. But I will say this, I do like Eric Bieniemy's personality, and I do think the players have a certain respect for him. If you guys remember, there was a story during the Kansas City Chiefs 2023 playoff run, shortly before the Baltimore Ravens game, the team brought in Eric Bieniemy, who was no longer on their coaching staff. They brought him in to give a speech to the Kansas City Chiefs shortly before their AFC Championship matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. And reportedly, multiple players teared up listening to Bieniemy's speech, and I think that shows the respect that they have for him, and I think his coaching style, which not a lot of players were comfortable with in Washington, is a very hard coaching style and gets the absolute best out of players, and I think that whip in the butt, that attitude is maybe something that this Chiefs team could benefit from if they were to add Eric Bieniemy back. I certainly think it would be beneficial to bring him on as an analyst or an offensive assistant. I just don't think there should be another path to him becoming the offensive coordinator once again, though. I think you need new blood. You need to inject new blood, new ideas into this offense, and Eric Bieniemy would just kind of be more of the same. And this is a reason why I would not mind Matt Nagy moving on either. Not that I think Matt Nagy has a problem, but I think you need to either elevate someone else who hasn't done it yet, or you need to go outside of the organization, or maybe add someone that worked with Andy Reid before but has never gotten to coach Patrick Mahomes, such as a Doug Peterson or a Brian Daboll. whose head coaching jobs are looking sketchy at best right now. And of course, looking at this from Eric Bieniemy's perspective, it would probably be best for his coaching career to go back to Andy Reid, seek more of his mentorship, learn from his mistakes, and maybe make another run later on after going to Andy Reid's coaching rehabilitation school of sorts. Because clearly Eric Bieniemy has struggled immensely since leaving the Chiefs, and it just keeps getting worse for him. And I think if he wants any future in coaching, he needs to go back to his roots. And that would be learning under Andy Reid. I also think another interesting aspect is that Kareem Hunt is on this team again, and Kareem Hunt had his best season with the Kansas City Chiefs when Eric Bieniemy was his running backs coach when he was a rookie. Again, I think he can get the absolute best out of players. The respect that they have for him is very clear. I think Kareem Hunt is someone that would benefit from Eric Bieniemy returning. That was his position coach at one time, and I think they bonded very well, and you could get the most out of Kareem Hunt. So I'm all in from that aspect. That I don't mind Eric Bieniemy's voice being in the room. I don't know how you could view it as a bad thing. Yeah, it didn't work out elsewhere. Other players didn't really adjust to his coaching style, it seems, but that doesn't mean he can't have a niche role in Kansas City. Maybe that's just where he belongs. Maybe that's where he does best. Maybe Eric Bieniemy is not meant to be an offensive coordinator elsewhere, is not meant to ever be a head coach. Maybe he's just a good position coach. Maybe he's a good mentor for players. That could certainly be the case. And so I think that if Eric Bieniemy wants any future at all again in coaching, he needs to come back to Kansas City. And when you look at the way that Kansas City has been performing lately, especially on offense, yeah, they could use that little whip in the butt. They could use that fire from Eric Bieniemy, getting into their faces and saying, hey, what the heck are you doing? You are a lot better than this. Of course, Eric Bieniemy's language would be a lot more colorful, and the Chiefs players would certainly tell you that, and they've said that before. But yeah, I mean, simply put, if Eric Bieniemy doesn't come back to Kansas City, maybe this is the end of the road for him in coaching, because I'm not totally sure how you come back from being fired as the offensive coordinator at UCLA after just 1 year. I mean, that is really bad for Eric Bieniemy. Since he's left Kansas City, he just hasn't been able to find his footing anywhere. And sometimes it's just like that. And it would not be the first Andy Reid assistant to go somewhere else and fall flat on his face and come back to Andy Reid. That would also fit the description of Matt Nagy, who is the current Chiefs offensive coordinator. But those are my overall thoughts on Eric Bieniemy getting fired and the potential of him rejoining the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff. But I do want to hear from you guys what your opinion is on Eric Bieniemy potentially coming back to Kansas City in some capacity. Is this something you'd be in favor of, or are you done with the Eric Bieniemy experience? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. But with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. And I'll see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!